Good evening, everyone. Nice to be back. Welcome again to the last panel of the day. And why we are here? Who are we? What are we doing? I'm joking. So XR, funding, development, and opportunities. When this year we were planning how to what to talk about during the a panel about XR, of course, I thought it might be interesting for everyone to know how to finance a project, which is a big question mark still that we don't. I don't think we have an answer here in this panel, but we will be talk about it. And my thought was, of course, I went to Silvia first from the media desk because I've been hearing that Creative Europe, as many other institutions, is discussing about how to include XR as precise line of funding or dedicate line of funding. So I've asked her about it, and she agreed to talk around it because we don't know if this is gonna happen yet, but we hope for it. And also, I thought it'd be interesting to have some funding which are already dedicated to it. So unfortunately, Esther Rothstegge cannot be with us because she couldn't travel from Germany, and then she had some personal problem to connect on Zoom. So it would be just the four of us. And I've asked Jacopo, Chessa, that many of you know, as the new director of the Veneto Film Commission. He's just opened a funding scheme dedicated to XR, so it's brand new. So the idea was to put in confrontation the Medienboard Berlin-Brandenburg fund, which has something like, I think, 8 years old. The innovative, the immersive fund has been there already. And of course, Benoît Blanchard from the Institut Français in Italy, attaché audiovisuel, and Benoît has just launched a very exciting project of residency for an XR laureate for a French person, of course. But he also has been in the VR industry long enough to just talk about what's going on in France, which is one of course, the main country for production, and we know all about it. And so let's start. I'll start from Silvia and from the introduction from Media Creative Europe.
Thank you, Carla. Hello, everyone. Thank you to Torino Short Film Market for inviting us and to introduce this session with an overview of media support for interactive digital content. I would like to show you some slides. So as you can see, in fact, this year we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of the media program, which was launched the first time in 1991 to support the audiovisual European industry in all the sectors, from development of works to their promotion and distribution all over Europe. I'm not going to tell you all the story of these 30 years, but I would like to tell you something about the support for digital content that, as Carla said, started in 2007. Oh, no, too fast. Okay. Yeah, in the Media 2007 generation, we had for the first time the support of, for the development of online and offline interactive works. I think it sounds a little bit old-fashioned and maybe vintage, this, the title of the call nowadays, but at least it was the start, and the total budget was 2 million euro, and it was a subsidy, not a grant like today, and the maximum financial contribution was between 10,000 euros and 150,000 euros. This call, of course, was published along another call that was supporting traditional works like the creative documentaries, animation, and fiction works. What it's interesting is to see that they, at the time, they supported the concept development of digital interactive content that were necessarily linked to a traditional work. And the aim was to develop content for at least one of these platforms that you can see on the screen, so internet, PC, console, any handheld devices, and interactive television. But what was quite interesting is that they already have some innovative elements that are that still stay there in the new call that we will see in a few minutes, like the narrative component. They really focused a lot on the narrative structure and component of the interactive work. On originality, creativity, and innovation. And of course, one of the main objective was to select and to choose projects that had European commercial potential, because for media, the distribution and the circulation of the works in Europe and beyond Europe is one of the main objectives since the beginning of the program. Yeah, and then in the following generation, in 2014, we have a new call dedicated to any genre, any category of works, included interactive content. And for the first time, we can see that they introduce a new terminology closer to the terminology that we use today, like user experience. And for the first time, they speak about virtual reality. Here again, it's I mean, it's not required to have a content linked to an existing work, but the work itself must be an animation or creative documentary or fiction project. And again, it's important to know since the beginning when you apply with your project for which platform you are going to distribute your project. And then in 2014, also for the first time, a video game call was published, and so also independent European developers of video games could apply for a grant for the first time. So now, yeah, just a few figures. Yeah. For in 2014 till 2020, the contribution was a grant, not a subsidy anymore. And you can see here that in case of Creative Europe, the lump sum was 25,000 euros, 60,000 in case of animation, and for fiction, the contribution depended on the production budget cost. So if it was below 1.5 million, the grant was 30,000, and 50,000 in case of a budget, production budget equal or above 1.5 million. Yeah, so now this year the new generation has been launched, and the new program, the new Creative Europe program, was launched in May. The negotiations between Commission and Parliament were a bit late, so we had the first calls only in June, and the first deadlines in August. So it was a pretty hot summer for producers, but not only producers, also for for markets and training that wanted to apply for a media grant. And actually, we are expecting the results quite soon. They should be published within the end of December. So good luck for Torino Short Film Market. Cross fingers. And yeah, so I mean, the bad news is that this year we didn't have any call for XR content or video game because the new call will be published only next year, and it will be probably out in the next few weeks, in the next days, I would say. So we can't say much because we don't have the guidelines yet. I prepared a short slide with some information that we can spread, that we can give to you. It will be a call both for European video game producers and both for production companies who wish to develop interactive, immersive experiences. Always with the goal to reach a global audience. The main objective of this call will be to make the audiovisual developers more for video games and for immersive content more competitive, and also to reinforce the intellectual property of their works. Oh, sorry. No. It's not easy to. Can I make it? Yeah, okay. So yeah, as I said, the publication will be in December, and the deadline will be very, very close, beginning of March, the 2nd of March. The budget is 6 million. The expected results are to select projects with, of course, appeal, international appeal, quality and feasibility, and a cross-border potential to reach international audiences. Another expected result is to make the position in the market of these of the beneficiaries of the grant stronger. The financial conditions, yeah, it will be a grant, so it's still a good news. And the maximum EU grant that you can apply for will be 150,000 euros. Of course, you have to respect the co-financing rate of 50% of the total eligible costs. Yeah, I think we are this is the last slide, and I would like to conclude with this image of a project that has been selected in the previous program. Of course, many projects in Europe got media support, but in particular, this is a documentary project produced by my boss was, which is a production company based in Turin. We helped them a lot in the application, so we are very proud that they got the media grant, and it's really very nice very strong, also very interesting immersive documentary directed by Rossella Schillaci. Yeah, I think I'm finished. I hope I didn't run out of time.
No, no, absolutely. It was just like, yeah, that was full of information. Thank you. It was like, absolutely. It was, I think it was very interesting for a lot of people to see people taking photo of your slides. So that's always a good news. So I'm moving on Jacopo. So I just want to be clear so that the other film commissioner that might be present or not present but seeing it online, don't be mad at us. Don't be mad at us. It's just like, it's not that the other film commission in Italy do not finance XR or immersive project. They do it.
Which one?
Well, for instance, I think Piemonte Film Commission do it. Like, I think Rossella, the project that we just quoted, got a finance it from the region. I think other region do it. But what Jacopo did in Veneto was to create for the first dedicated line of funding. It means that it's not all together, but it's a separate. So how that goes, how it works. And yeah, I suppose I'll have other question for you when you're done.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thanks, Carla Vulpiani, for this kind invitation, because it's the first time for me to, as a founder of Torino Short Film Market, to be here as a guest. So it's quite exciting and touching. It's true. So how it works? I want to say two things, basically. To present our fund and a little reflection on XR contents. How it works, it's a fund, it's a part of our production fund, which is 1.5 million euro. The main part is dedicated to feature films and TV series. This year we don't have so much money on XR contents because it's just 100,000 euro shared with documentaries and short films. The cap is 38,000 euro and the maximum coverage is 50% on eligible costs in Veneto. That means if you want 30,000, you have to spend at least 60,000 euro in Veneto. But the problem is how to cover the other costs if you are an Italian company. I forgot to say, it's a European fund, part of, because we call it PORFESR in Italian, but in English is EU Regional Operational Program. So every EU-based company can apply to our fund. So you don't need to be Italian or from Veneto. Of course, it's better to have a partner, an Italian partner, because you have to apply in Italian and to send all materials in Italian. And of course, the partner, if the partner is from the region, it would be even better because they know professionals, location, and it's easier, let's say. What else? It's difficult to co-produce and to cover the rest of the costs. Basically, in Italy, the production, the XR contents production is based on private funding, and the ministry doesn't support XR content. So I think the next step will be this involvement of the ministry, because otherwise all the regions, yes, they can support in a way or like animation, and they have like wide range of contents, not so clear. Sometimes like Puglia Film Commission calls it, I don't remember the expression, but it's not XR contents. Instead of us, which is really on XR contents, that means augmented reality, mixed reality, virtual reality, of course. So it's a challenge. It's the first time we do that, and it's the first fund. It's now open, and it will close in 2 weeks, the December 13th. But you will find all the information on our website, venetofilmcommission.com. Other things on the fund, yeah. I think I said all the important thing, the technically speaking, on the fund. My reflection is about the Torino short film market and VR, XR contents, and what's happening now with metaverse, and everything is immersive. This huge immersive field. Not for me, not so easy to understand in some way. We started in the second edition of the Torino Short Film Market a section called VR Stories. No, VR Stories was the third, Digita. Brava. Digita, but it was like a panel and a pitch on it was mainly VR contents. It became VR Stories in the third year of the Torino Short Film Market, because I was convinced that there was a strong connection between short films, narrative short films, and VR contents. But now I'm not so sure. No, because I think XR is not about storytelling. It's another thing. In this, I think it's the beginning of a new era of not storytelling, or weak storytelling, let's say, alternative storytelling. I don't know how to call that.
They say digital storytelling.
Digital storytelling, yes,
Still
but it's a technical expression, digital storytelling. But why we do that in Veneto? Because of my experience here, of course, but also because we have the most important showcase festival that programs VR contents in Venice, because we have the most important computer graphic school in Italy, Big Rock. And I really convinced that we need to speak the language of the future. But if you are producers of virtual reality or XR contents, you can ask me everything, and I will be there after the panel for give you more details on the call. Or Carla, if I forgot something on this application, you can ask me something.
I'll have a question, but you answered it extensively. We can come back on some topic later, maybe.
Yeah.
And so, Benoît. I moved to Benoît, and it's an exciting project of a residency. And it's so how it is you started to develop. Well, you started to taking care of immersive content back when you were with Unifrance. Right, you already started there.
Right, and so first of all, thank you for the invitation. And I was just thinking maybe before telling more about the residency, I should explain where it all comes from, which means how do we support virtual reality or XR technologies in France. So I'm so sorry, it won't be the very sexy part of the pitch, but I have to give you some figures. The French National Film Board has been supporting XR technologies since 2014, approximately, I would say, giving €1 million every year. So it sounds a lot, but it's not so much. I know they will kill me if they heard me telling that, but it was always meant for supporting the whole industry, meaning supporting XR technologies meant creating a fund for writers, authors, for production companies, and not forgetting technical industries. which means 1 million, it goes faster. But it was approximately like backing 10 or 12 XR immersive project every year. If I were honest, I would also say, no, it didn't start in 2014. The National Film Board started supporting immersive and special effects and new technologies many years before. But the first time it was, we could say, oh, this was to help an XR project. It dates back to late 2014. So today, I would say, I guess the CNC gave over 10 million euros for creation. And it was not only dedicated to every part of the development, which means development stage, production, and post-production. It was also, it tries to, when you will understand why I was saying that, thinking of this is not because it is the National Film Board that it has to be attached to film as an art. It could be open to something else. So they really try to open these funds to new, well, different, not new, but different kinds of arts like dance, music, theater, not only movie industries, to keep it open, like the technology was immersive and open, and they try not to create a ghetto for like a prolongation of film industry. Since there are people from Unifrance in the place, I will say that what do we miss after writing, production and post-production? We need the sale, we need the distribution. And this is something that arrived later in late, I guess, 2018, when thanks to the impulse of the French embassy in the United States, they proposed to create a new program to support the traveling, which means basically the sale of XR creation. And Unifrance was associated to it, like the National Film Board and also the French Institute, which is a cultural French institute abroad, and recreate a common program called French Immersion, taking place back then only in the US, but because US were the place where if you have a solid XR project and it is selected, I don't know, it's Sundance, in New York, in BAM, in Brooklyn, this meant you will sell it. It will be identified by other film festivals and this will help you. So it was sure only, unfortunately, restricted to one country, but this country was prescriptive. After I say that, this is where my residency comes from. When I arrived in Italy, I knew there were things, because the biggest strength in Italy is there is a very famous festival called Venice. And Venice had for 4 years now, I can't remember when it started. Even more, the Venice 2015, no? 4 years, okay. It started with Venice VR Island, and it was, and I think it still is in Europe, maybe the biggest, the most important film festival, a traditional film festival, with a VR XR section, but high profile and dedicated only to it, with an independent jury awarding free prizes to these technologies. And I knew, as a former French producer, arriving in Venice, in Italy, in Rome, that there is this strength in Italy. Little by little, I knew also that there was the major broadcaster, which is also here, the Italian national broadcaster, interested in VR and having launched its own application and platform, which means producing and buying VR content. They were the only ones. So I knew there were significant things. We had no, unfortunately, not yet, local film commission supporting the technology, but there were private equity, there were big festival, and a very important broadcaster on it. So what we try to do with the French embassy, we have, of course, very strong relation with Villa Medici. That depends.
A little place.
What?
A little place.
A little place, a little heaven of peace. But it depends from the Ministry of Culture, and we depend from Foreign Affairs, which is different. But we will work with them. And what do? They welcome guests from France, but not only from France, for other countries, and try to help them to develop their project. Every art is concerned: theater, music, writing, archaeology, we have everything, cinema, of course, and they were interested in video games and XR technologies. And we started negotiating with them, saying maybe we could try to open it for the first time for a French XR creator. We found the date, I will tell them afterwards. It will be in the second semester of 2022. And what we needed also was somebody in Italy to support us. And when the RAI accepted to support a project by promising pre-buying the project, it was a very significant step to create it. And we needed also someone to pilot the call for project, pilot it in France, since it will be, I'm so sorry, restricted to not French nationality, but you have to be resident in France. But anyway, it has something to do with France. I will develop it afterwards. So we rely on New Images Festival, which is probably in France the most important film festival dedicated to VR. It's not as important as Venice, but it's one of the biggest in Europe. And most of them, they are used to create and develop residents abroad. They have one with Taiwan, one with Montreal, and they were willing to do something in Italy too. Just like I knew that Italian producer and author were willing to do things with France. Maybe I should develop something else. The difference between strong markets like US, China and UK, it's like when you're a French or an Italian XR creators, your creation is author-oriented, whereas in this other market, it's market-oriented. I'm not judging, but the difference is you only rely on private studios, private companies, and private equities to create your creation, which means if there is no market, you can't do it. And whereas when you're in Europe, there's less money for that, but the impulsion is different. It comes, just like for movie industry, it comes from an author trying to develop a project and trying to make it fit with the market industry. So a market VR or XR in Europe, it's developing. It's not, especially with COVID, I can't tell you if it does exist, but it's fragmented. You have location-based, you have platform, you have festival. So it's a different philosophy of creation. After having said that, what do we do? In January, we will launch our project. It will be for a French project, not necessarily a French author, but you have to have a French production company. It doesn't prevent you from making international co-production, thank God, because the national market, it's just like for producing animation, it's not enough. You need more money. It's a European law. You can have the National Film Board, a Film Commission, but you're limited to 50% of public funding. So you will have to find these other 50% from private. The project that will be selected will be at the writing or development status, and the author will stay 1 month in the Villa Medici. He will stay there and will try to nourish its project with also the other resident of the residency, which means with other form of arts, painting, theater, dance, everything that could fuel its project. On the other hand, we will make this author travel to Italy, because Italy is not France. Everything doesn't take place only in one city like Paris. So it will take place mostly in Rome, but we will send him or her to Venice, to Milan, to Torino, to Bologna, every major Italian city where you have an institution, production companies, meetings that can help to develop the project. Our hope is that this French project will become, after a few months, potentially a French-Italian co-production, and maybe ask money to your Veneto fund. That would be great. You see, we are complementary. And maybe we were wrong, but we didn't put them under pressure. I can't tell you that in 2023 the project will be broadcast and will be shown in an important festival. We wanted the project to be free to take its time and to develop. I hope it will take an eternity. But we know that sometimes 1 year could be a little bit short to raise money, especially if we have somebody still writing. So we gave them a little more time to show it. So my hope is that maybe in late 2023, we will have something to show you here, maybe in 2 years. But not next year, but within 2 years, I hope.
We hope too. Thank you. Thank you.
I forgot to say, next year we will have more money than this year, also on feature films.
That's a promise.
It's not a promise. It's a hope that, yeah, I think at least the double.
That's cool. So, well, you all raised a lot of interesting points on the side of like talking a lot, which is like you were joking me about the things like they were like, oh, we have nothing to say, like really. You said a lot of things. But I want to ask if there is some questions before I go ahead with mine, or if there's some question online, because I can't see it. Okay, I have the online, so no questions online. Is there anyone that wants to ask a question to our panelists? Or I ask a question to them? I'll go ahead, yeah? Yeah. So, well, I think it's interesting. It's interesting to say how like, geeks are as, you know, a market by itself. So I think you're right, like, it's not, you were convinced that it has to do with short films. Probably it's like, it has its own outer space, you know, it's like his own space, its own distribution, its own like via. And I remember everyone that we have like 3 programs that you can watch when it's here every morning, and from tomorrow you will have an immersive program and a French program. I love French XR, which content are supported by Unifrance. And as a content partner, we have Mid-Center Milan, Diversion Cinéma, and Institut Français and l'Ambassade de France. So thank you, everyone, for putting on this program together. It was like a big group effort.
Next year, also from Veneto.
And next year, yeah, Veneto. A lot of content from Veneto. We're waiting for them. And I don't know if Jenny sitting here somewhere? No? She went away? Okay, because I had a question for that, because Filmi Vast, you know, just moving a step into Sweden, into VR founding as well. So as everyone is moving is the step. So how? Huh? Oh, you saw it? Manuela, Right Cinema is also one of our partners. We said as well to Manuela, if you want to come back, if you're here, like show yourself. And yeah, so like, how do you? I mean, this is all word is going. So on distribution, on promotion, and support, how what are the hope? What are the goals for instance from Creative Europe, from media point of view? Silvia?
Yeah, in fact, I just wanted to add, listening to, of course, there are very interesting points of view, that media is not only supporting these extended reality content and only financially, but of course they try also to create networking opportunities and market opportunities, and where the developers can find partners and can hopefully also sell their works. And above all, it's also so important to, as of course also Jacopo was saying, to find where the expertise is, and there are a lot of training initiatives also in media supporting this kind of content, and we are looking forward to see the results of the call for proposal for training activities, because for sure there will be new actions targeted to also this kind of projects. And it's also, as Benoît said, he already mentioned Venice, that it's also funded by media. So it's also very important to, I think, to work closely with all these opportunities and to try to build new partnerships. Yeah, and to.
Yeah, and I think it's also a lot of networks are, following the European model. A lot of network around the world is being building around XR content. So maybe, Maria Grazia, can I ask you something? Yeah? About the global, no, I can ask you a question to our audience. Can we have a mic in the room? Here, is a mic coming along? Yeah? Because there's a lot of networks that were born around XR. Like I know a lot of some festival and events, for instance, this Eurofest XR that was born around to trying to promote creators, and with the goal to sending them around to touring this festival. So it's just like it's a big like the grand tour for artists that you will do with the residency as well. So I know there is also I want to ask Maria Grazia Mattei, which is from Meet Media Center. Can you tell us about the global network, something? The Galaxy network. Sorry.
Sorry, I prefer speaking French, but I try to speak English. So my global network, I part, a small part of, not really global network, but we start. Maybe 14, come si dice in inglese?
14.
Okay. City. We organize with the Diversion Cinéma et Montréal, le Centre de Film Montréal, a créé une sorte de network avec toutes des villes, avec des centres comme je parle français, with the city like Milano, but not only Russian city, different city around the world, to try to create a network to diffuse the catalog of VR experience, select international, selection is international. Our goal is to create a network to diffuse, because the many people, they don't know. They talk about VR, but they don't experience the VR. That is the problem. The problem is how is diffused this product to large public, to large audience. The problem is that. So we create, but the channel to diffuse this product, this is very small compared to production. So we are the festival, we are the center like Meet in Milano. I invited all to visit Meet because it's a big effort to introduce digital art and culture in Italy. But they are also the big network in Europe. I suppose maybe there are 49 centers focused in digital creation, in digital culture. So we must reflect about that. I think it's very important to create a network to diffuse not only the festival, but to diffuse this product continuously, because the public is not
used to it.
Exactly. So we try with the Galaxy. It's a very good experience. We tried like Meet with also Biennale in Venice. 20 day, the program is like a satellite. It's a very good experience. But we have a lot of work to do together, and I think it's important to I would like to talk with Linda because it's important to help the production, of course, the production is important, but also help the network to diffuse to the larger public, for the larger audience, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if there are the grant for improve these efforts.
For distributions.
Distribution.
Well, we have, of course, grants for distribution in media, which is, I guess, it's also the biggest part of the total budget for media, which is devoted to distribution, but for mainly cinema distribution. But it's true that when I, for instance, brought to you this example of, this was really a very success story, this project from my boss was, because in fact they were selected before in a Biennale VR, so they developed it, they had a chance and opportunity to develop their project, and then they were also selected in the Venice Gap Film Financing, where they could find the final part of the budget to complete the work. So, and also it was a co-production, so this really shows the importance of combining all these opportunities also offered by European Union.
And distribution, France has a lot of history. Of all distributors are probably at the moment, at current stage, all distributors are in France or in Canada, I suppose. I think or the US.
If it hasn't changed since I left France, yes, there were 3 or 4 significant international distribution companies, Diversion, Wide, who else? MK2, and there was a 4th one.
Austria?
Atlas? Also this, yes, they also do distribution, okay. But you see, this is in the continuity of the film industry, because France is also specialized in this. If you attend the Torino Film Lab, there are so many French professionals, because there are so many international film sales companies that are French, sometimes with Italian working for them, but French company. And I think France is one of the countries with the most companies specialized in international sales, and maybe I say maybe because Diversion and Wide and together, what is common denominator between all these 3 companies? They were selling international films, and they decided to open a department dedicated to XR. So it really fits into it. But I just wanted to apologize because I did not mention the Meet Center in Milano, who, of course, because we haven't signed any contract yet. But of course, when we have our resident in Italy, our goal is to make him or her travel to the Meet and use. Why is your center called Meet? Because this is a place where creators can meet each other. And in Rome, okay, we have Palazzo Farnese, we have Villa Medici, we have not dirty places to organize meetings, but it will be lovely to organize meetings between Italian and French creators in the Meet Center in Milan. So this is one of our goals too. Thank you.
So I see if there's any question online, I can see any. So someone has any curiosity in the room? No? We can wrap up.
But maybe about distribution, I will say something very common, but we are still, how do you say, it's complicated. For example, Rai Cinema is pre-buying the content, which is great, which means the content will be available on Rai Cinema app and platform in Italy. It also means that Italy, they will manage the rights for Italy. Okay, the author and producer still own the rest of the world besides Italy, with many countries. But it's not only about one country, it's what kind of rights do you sell? Is it a platform? Is it online? Is it location-based? Is it festival? And it will depend. We are very open, which our resident maybe will develop something very ambitious with motion captures, technologies, what do you say, calibrating space, letting you the ability to move. But in the end, I will have to, not I, but so resident will have to to give something to Rise Cinema that can be broadcast on their application. Something, it can be a smaller, a shorter version of something different, but they will need something to show online or still on mobile phone. And I think today we are still here. Where is my creation showable? Where can I show it? And the whole economic business, the whole business model will be built according to where do you think your creation can be shown, meaning how many people simultaneously will see it. Is it 40 people sitting with devices and watching it for 10 minutes, or is it only one person every half an hour? Everything is possible, but it has an impact on your production cost and on your career after that.
That's true. That's a very good advice for everyone who wants to design a new content. And I will also lead me to say that, well, you gave me the boat. I just want to close by saying thank you to Rai Cinema Channel, because they are putting an award this year in the XR content section, and they're really putting a great effort in Italy now to cover this space, which is, you know, it's early days. So of course the channel is actually available on Oculus app and Play app, and it's free. And it's free. You can go, if you have an Oculus, you can go on the channel and you can see the content. And it's great. They are like looking into narrative contents more and more. Some content that bring over a narrative storytelling.
So I'm against it.
What?
I am against it.
You're against it, yeah, no. But don't propose narrative storytelling to Veneto. They don't want.
Never.
But yeah, so I mean, they're doing a huge job in Italy, and so we're, you know, it's early days, so everything can be improved, but definitely it's a good start. We see the light. So we hope now it's a little appeal to the Ministry of Culture to take this matter in their hands.
You know, now also ANICA, which is the Association of Producers and Distributors in Italy, has the VR, I don't know, department. ANICA VR. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I think they will start pushing on the ministry here.
And they also have just launched the first playable fund, which is the support for video games. So maybe they will soon also do something for narrative content in extended reality.
We're close. We're very close. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you to all the people online. I think we can wrap up. And it was an amazing first day of Torino Short Film Market. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 10 with ultra corto pitches. And yeah, have a nice night. Have a great night to everyone. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.